On behalf of the Greater Yosemite Council of Boy Scouts of America, I hereby open this National Court of Honor, purpose of awarding the highest rank in scouting, the Eagle Badge.
Now if I can have Mr. Joey Howard come up here, give the roll call of Troop 81 Eagles. All the Eagles from Troop 81: Michael Sierra, Michael Smith, Eddie Dozzadelli, Timothy Holland, John Henson, John R. Shield, John W. Shield, Tyson Frank, Corey Holland, Terry Keller, Robert Borman, Matt Sierra, Michael Keller, Richard McGuire, Andrew Howe, Matt Howe, Patrick Olson, Stephen Holberg, Michael Beltran, Stuart Dom, Michael Howe, Chris Borchard, Rigoberto Noriega, Joseph Happel, Dylan Lerno, Josh Howard, Chad Saline, Abram Noriega, Pat Tooman, Matt Tooman, John Tooman, Kyle Moeller, Matt Gardner, Brandon Antelak, Zach Tooman, Josh Scholes, Sammy Tooman, Ricky Howard, James Dunphy, Arthur Hoxie, Zach Whitney, Isaac Noriega, Jared Chacon, Jacob Nelson, David Freitas, Joey Howard, Alex Whitney, John Bingham, and now Michael Donofrio. Can I have all the Eagles who are present please stand? Can you your name, the date you got your Eagle, and what troop?
My name is Charles Sharner. I got my Eagle in 1993 with Troop 721 in Hillsboro, Oregon.
I am Matthew. I got my Eagle March last year, and
Your troop
oh
number?
yes, and my troop number was 533.
And I'm Joey Howard. I got my Eagle on June 9th, 2010 from Troop 81. And can I have all the Eagles come over here and form the Eagles nest? And if I could now have Mr. Adam Mello come and escort Michael, our Eagle Scout. And now, Adam, if you would escort his parents now.
Why is Adam doing the escorting? Why is Adam doing the escorting?
And if I could now have Mr. Ron Swift come up here and tell us about just how prestigious this award is and give the Eagle Chuck.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
Some of this you've probably heard before. It is taken from a list called Out of 100 Scouts. Out of 100 boys who join scouting, records indicate that rarely one will be brought before the juvenile court system. 2 will become Eagle Scouts. 17 will become future Scout volunteers. 12 will have their first contact with the church. 1 of those will enter the clergy. 5 will earn their church award. 18 will develop a hobby that will last through their adult life. 8 will enter a vocation which is learned through the merit badge system. 1 will use his scouting skills to save his own life. One will use his scouting skills to save another person's life. There are a lot of very impressive figures pertaining to Eagle Scouts. For instance, 89% of senior class presidents over the years in their high schools have been Eagle Scouts, 89%. 75% of school newspaper editors were Scouts. I've always had an interest in that figure. 71% of football captains were Scouts. When you get into the military, it becomes extremely impressive. 64% of Air Force graduates are Eagle Scouts. 68% of West Point graduates, excuse me, these are not Eagle Scouts, these are simply Scouts, I'm sorry. 72% of Rhodes Scholars were Scouts at one time in their younger days. 85% of FBI agents were Scouts. And 26 out of the first 29 astronauts were Scouts. I did just a bit of research, having an interest in the subject, just this morning, in fact. Some of you have never heard these three names, but after today you won't be able to say that. The first Eagle Scout, his name was Arthur Rose Eldridge. He was 17 years old. He was a member of Troop 1 in Rockville Center on Long Island, New York. He had to wait until the Eagle design was finalized before he actually received his badge. It was awarded on Labor Day, September 2nd, 1912. The anniversary of the awarding of that badge will come a little later this year. The 1 millionth Eagle Scout was Alexander Holzlinger of Normal, Illinois, and that was in 1982. The 2nd millionth Scout was Anthony Thomas of Lakeville, Minnesota. He received his badge in 2009. Now, in the past, we've used several figures at this ceremony, and they have varied a little bit as to what percent of Scouts actually receive the Eagle badge. And the figures that we have been using normally come off the internet, and they pertain to a certain period of time, like how many in the last year. But if you go all the way back now, over 100 years, to when Scouting started in the United States in 1910, it's been only 2% of the Scouts who have begun their careers as first 12 and then now 11-year-old boys, and who eventually advanced to the Eagle rank. Michael, could we have you front and center? I'd like to read you the Eagle Charge. The Scouts of all nations constitute one of the most wholesome and significant movements in the world's history. You have been judged by the Boy Scouts of America as being worthy of this honor. All who know you rejoice in your achievement. Your position, as you well know, is one of honor and responsibility. You are a marked man. As an Eagle Scout, you have assumed a solemn obligation to do your duty to God, to country, and to your fellow Scouts, and to mankind in general. This is a great undertaking. As you live up to your obligations, you bring honor to yourself and to your fellow Scouts. America has many good things to give you and your children after you. These good things depend, for the most part, on the quality of our citizens. Our country has had a great past. You can help make the future even greater. many who use their strength and their brains to exploit others and gain selfish ends. I charge you to be among those who dedicate their skills and ability to the common good. Please make the Scout sign and repeat the Scout oath and vow.
And now, if I could have our Scoutmaster, Mr. Kelly Pedrin, come up and present Michael with the Eagle Badge, please.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know, I'm Kelly Pedrin, I'm the Scoutmaster Troop 81 is right now. I am presenting Mr. D'Onofrio with his Eagle Badge. Yeah, right there.
And now, if I could have the Penguin Patrol come up, whoever all from the Penguin Patrol is here, and present Michael with this new deck sheet.
This might be a better angle.
Scoutmaster, Mr. Kelly Pedrin, come up once again and present him with his troop gift. It's a tradition we do in Troop 81.
Okay, I'm going to take this moment to say a couple things that weren't in the script. Don't worry, it'll be short. I will present the gift. One of the things I would like to bring up, there's somebody who's been doing this for a very long time, been putting the troop gift together for us, for the troop, for a very long time. He's done it for many, many Eagle Scouts, including Michael, Mr. Garrett Gary Scholes. I get to present it, but Gary's the one that did the work, so I don't feel like I really should be up here. But that being said, the other thing I'd like to say is eagles don't happen very often. It's not easy. Getting an eagle is very hard. I didn't do it. I was a Boy Scout. I didn't get it. It's not easy. This is a big accomplishment. So I want to congratulate Michael for doing it and getting there. And the kids out there that want to get an eagle, do it, go for it. But I want to let you know it takes some work. It's not easy. So let me present with this gift.
So Michael, if you would now present the parent and mentor pins. Jim Mello would like to make some comments.
Good afternoon. First, congratulations, Michael, on receiving the Eagle rank. And also thank you for inviting me to say a few words. It is always a pleasure to share stories about these fine young men as they journey through the Scout program and advance until they finally receive the Eagle rank. I've known Michael from the time he started with the Scout program. We as adult leaders try to teach the Scouts how to perform the different tasks in order to meet the rank requirements. With Michael, it has been a pleasure, and at times, a little bit of a challenge. I don't mean this in a bad way. The way we teach is fairly simple. First, we read from the Scout Handbook one of the tasks we are to work on for that rank. That's the first challenge. Michael, did you get that? What, Mr. Mello? Then he starts the second phase. Mr. Mello, why do we have to make the knots like this? I know how to light the stove. I'm not even hungry. Okay, once we get past these questions and his explanation of how things should be, then we, the adult leaders, demonstrate how the task should be performed correctly and safely. Were you watching, Michael? What, Mr. Mello? Michael, this is important so you don't hurt yourself and others. Yes, Mr. Mello, I know how to do that. Why do we have to do it now? How come we don't do it like this? How come we don't do it like this? Mr. Mello, do you know that? Now, the last part of the teaching for these requirements is to let the scout perform the task we just went over. I know what you're thinking. For lighting the stove and starting fires, I let Mario help out. I did say I wanted to be the safe distance. I mean, we wanted to be safe. Elizabeth, you were right. He is a handful. He is a handful, and he's a fine scout and a good person all around. He has always completed the task just fine. So you were right, Michael. We were words for nothing. Not only have I had the pleasure of helping Michael with the scout program, I've had the pleasure of watching him grow to be a fine young man. Yes, he keeps me on my toes, and that's a good thing. It is possible that I have learned more from Michael than he has from me. I know that I think about things a lot after our visits. Michael, don't ever stop questioning things and learning from your surroundings. It has truly been a pleasure being part of your life and calling you a friend. A big congratulations to you and your family on receiving you.
And also, Mrs. Scholes would like to make some comments.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Carol Scholes. And if you haven't had the opportunity to look through this, it's back there on the table. Please take a moment and see the final product of a lot of work that Michael put into his service project. The glasses. I'm here today not only as a friend to the D'Onofrio family, but also as a representative of the Patterson Township Historical Society. We thought it was important to publicly acknowledge our gratitude to Michael in the presence of his family and friends for the fine job he did on his Eagle Service project. Under the guidance and direction of our curator, Ron Swift, Michael led a team of scouts to undertake a daunting task. At least it was daunting to us older folks. Why was it a daunting task, you may wonder? Well, initially, the project involved properties of physical prowess, balance, and agility. Yes, it required getting up on tall ladders up to a 14-foot ceiling and strength to hoist those class pictures down carefully without breaking them, clean them, re-string them with wire, and rehang them. Now these photos are very large and heavy and covered with glass. Now I want you all to bear one thing in mind. The average age, I did the math, Ron, of the board of the Historical Society is just under 70. So you can understand why we were pretty happy to have Michael lead a group of strong, agile, balance, ability scouts up those ladders to do that job. The second component of the project involved computer and digital skills. This book. Now I can log on to Facebook with the best of them, and I didn't even know until I wrote a picture or two. But again, with all due respect to my fellow historians, remember that average age I just mentioned? Well, I'm one of the babies of the group. So creating a beautiful hardbound catalog like Michael has made, well, let's just say if it was up to me, I'd still be cutting and pasting. I'd be using scissors and glue. Since my involvement in the society, whenever I've been in the museum, I've noticed what draws people's attention. Whether the museum is packed with people like on Fiesta Weekend, or if there's 2 or 3 people just roaming around quietly looking at things, the school displays, the yearbooks, and the class pictures are the most popular displays. Visitors young and old love to see the graduates of years gone by. There's my grandpa. Well, what year did you graduate, Mom? Or, oh, look at that hairdo. Those are the types of things I overhear as people search the photos for their loved ones and friends. And it's those types of personal moments that turn history into our story. And now with Michael's help, we can offer visitors an up-close look at those portraits, a more personal experience for that daughter or son or grandchild to look into the past and perhaps to see a little of themselves. So thank you very much, Michael, for a job well done and very appreciated.
All right, Michael, if I could have you come up here. I'd just like to say thank you for everyone who came to my Eagle ceremony. Thank you to my parents for all their help. Thank you for Mr. Mello for the comments. And I believe you said I was right somewhere in there.
Just once.
Just one. Thank you for Miss Scholes that came up. Again, everyone else who came. And Ron Swift for helping me on my Eagle project. All right, Ron, if I could have you come up here and close the National Court of Honor for us.
Before closing, there might be a few young scouts here who I'd like to tip off on just a bit of Troop 81 history. This candle board, I know, dates back probably about 60 years. I've seen it in photographs from the early 1950s in Troop 81 ceremonies. I mention it because notice some of the candles are a little bit crooked. If there is a father or a scout who has a little skill in the area of carpentering, we could use some of those holes redone. They burned out a little bit. Somebody could take that home, maybe clean it up. It would be, I'm sure, greatly appreciated. This time, I would like to close the National Court of Honor, and I too would like to congratulate Michael and his parents. Thank you.
And now, we have food in the back for everyone that would like to eat. Adults first, before Okay, please bow your heads. Dear God, thank you for this day. Thank you for this time that we could spend. And I pray that we would all have fun eating and nourishing our bodies, and that you would bless the food and drink, and bless everyone driving on the way home. Thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.